Is my hair okay?
Oh, damn. That was the titty shot. Definitely.
This is not this kind of channel,
The
Nick.
titty shot.
The titty shot. I have no titties today. Sometimes I put on one of those Victoria's Secret bombshell bras and I just pretend. For like 24 hours. And then I go back to being flat-chested and in my sweatpants for the rest of eternity.
Oh, hey, so today I'm with one of my favorite people ever, Loey. We also did a story time on her channel where we talk about terrifying things.
Yeah, like completely. Some of the scariest experiences we've ever had in terms of like people stalking us and or things that belong to us. So really, really, really weird.
Yeah, and this video is also terrifying on like another level. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Okay, so as you can tell from the title, both myself and Loey have been roofied in our lives.
Which is like such a scary thing. Like we were literally talking about life experiences that we shared and literally we were talking about some of the scariest things that ever happened to us and you were like, I was roofied. And it's so heartbreaking to think that like two people could share such an awful experience, but it is real. It happens to a lot of people.
And it's not something that you really want to share with someone. Like when someone goes, oh, I was roofied too, that's not like a yay.
Yeah, it's not like, oh great, let's make a video. It's like, wow, that's probably something we should talk about because I mean, it does happen. It's so common. And even if it's not roofies, it's like, I have friends that have been slipped like Molly and been slipped like other drugs. It's so common now. And really scary.
So my story begins Halloween of 2009, and I was dressed as Princess Jasmine. I will insert a photo here.
My life.
And I was in New York City with a bunch of my friends. So we're hanging out like in our hotel room, and you know, I have a drink in the hotel room, and we're just like pre-gaming a little bit before we go out. Didn't want to go too hard because I knew that we would be drinking at the club too. So I had one drink at the hotel room, and then we went out to this club, which was like a huge Halloween party. There were so many people there, it was packed. Like,
what club was it, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was called, but I know it was like a huge club. So we're there, we're dancing, and my ex was at the club, and you may know
Wait, your ex, like you were dating him at the time, or?
No, ex at the time.
Okay,
so this is my ex that we broke up because he was cheating on me with my best friend.
That's story time.
So that's also story time.
Story.
I'll put it in the description box. It's gonna be somewhere.
It's a good one.
So he was there, and at that point, it was kind of like, not that it's water under the bridge, but I feel like I was okay, like to say hi and like talk to him and stuff, because at that point, it had been 3 years since that happened, and of course, like when something like that happens, it doesn't mean that it's okay, but it's like time has passed. And
so, I mean, you didn't want to like pretend you didn't exist or anything like that's almost a lot more awkward than just saying hi, you know, what's up. So I've been there.
We said hi, and we ended up like hanging around in close proximity to each other. So his current boyfriend at the time, who was another one of my friends, not the same friend that he cheated on me with.
Different friend.
Very long, intertwined story.
I was gonna say, a really interesting group of friends.
Right. So they were together, and I think they were with a couple of their friends. My friend / his new boyfriend, he asked if I want a drink. And so he goes up to the bar. He gets 2 drinks, one for him and one for me. When he comes back from the bar, and I'm drinking it, keep in mind this is my second drink. Like not long after that, I would say, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 minutes after that, I started feeling really weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know I'm a lightweight, but 2 drinks should not do this to me. I remember dancing a little bit, and I remember sitting on the curb outside with the friends that I came with. I felt so bad because they had to leave the club to bring me back to the hotel. Just incoherent. Like they were they were describing like what I was doing. They were like, you don't remember this, you don't remember this. And I was like, no. So sitting on the curb, I get back to the hotel room because my friends that I was with are awesome.
At least you had a really good support system like that could take you home, because that's really scary to go through, especially like when you don't know what's happening. And even if you weren't coherent, like you were still going through it.
Yeah.
So at least they were able to bring you back.
They said like they basically had to like lift me. Like there were 3 of them, and I think like 2 of them had to lift me to be able to get I think we took a cab back to the hotel, and
But
put
you literally
me in bed.
don't know.
I don't know. And then the next thing I remember is like one flash like in the bathroom, and then the next morning waking up. So I woke up and I felt like a million emotions because I was like, okay, first of all, I was scared because I couldn't remember like everything that happened. And also just grateful that I knew that my friends were able to take me out of that situation and nothing ended up happening. What I think must have happened was someone must have tried to roofie him and didn't know that that drink was to be given to me. I talked to him after that and he said nothing happened to his drink. So it was just the first one that the bartender made, I guess.
And the bartender was the only one with like access to it? Like no one else?
Well, I don't know. Like I wasn't at the bar.
Obviously, yeah.
So he, and I mean, I know for a fact like that friend would not do anything like that. And I also know, like, as shitty as the situation may have been with my ex, I know that he would not have done that either. So it must have been a stranger that had plans to do who knows what. I'm just glad that nothing else happened.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad nothing else happened. That's really scary. Like, it's really scary to look back on nights and not know what happened. And especially when, like, you weren't in control. You didn't make the decision to get blackout drunk. You didn't do anything except have another drink, which you were more than capable to handle. But someone else, like, literally put stuff in your drink. That's so scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary. Okay, so mine, I remember a lot more detail than this, and this is why, like, I don't know what was in my drink. I don't know if I was drugged. I know I was drugged. That much I'm positive of. I don't know what it was because I feel like when I say it, it doesn't sound very similar to a lot of people's roofie stories. But
I could say the same because I wasn't sure either. I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't get tested.
Same. Like, I was underage when this happened, and I didn't want my parents to know. They found out anyways after the fact, and were livid, but it was already like way too late to get me tested or whatever. I mean, I feel like everyone's story is different, so who knows? But I was, oh God, I would have been 18 when this happened, and make good decisions, children. I don't condone drinking underage, but if you're going to, I can't stop you. Just make good choices. Don't let anyone else touch your drink. Always watch the people who are making your drinks, especially if you're not in a club, if you're just at a party or at someone's house. Don't drink with people you don't know very well. And if you're going to, just keep your hands on that drink at all times because you never know what's going to happen. And that was the situation for me. I had gone out with a friend of mine and we went to this club that was notorious in our town for not caring when it came to underage drinking. And I'm from kind of like a college town where a lot of bars will look the other way if, you know, you have enough money to like cover the charge for that. Again, don't do what I do. So I was with my friend and she knew this guy. Like she was kind of like talking to him at the time and he had brought a friend with him. And at the time I was dating somebody. I was in like a serious relationship and I, you know, wasn't looking for anything. He had literally just brought his friend because she was like gonna come out with my girlfriend if you want to bring somebody. And it wasn't one of those situations where like this guy thought we were on a date. Actually, I don't know what he thought, but I made it very clear from the word go that I was in a relationship. My boyfriend was the background on my phone. Like I'm not hiding anything. And we were at this club and we're all talking, we're all hanging out, and the guys offered to get us drinks. And I think that maybe beforehand we had each had like one beer apiece, like at her house, but this was hours before that. And we think we're so fucking cool, like drinking at 18. Oh my God, it's so lit. And we feel so cool with these guys like buying us drinks and whatever. And I don't even know what I ordered. Probably like something ridiculous. Probably like Jack and Coke, because I didn't know how to order drinks at this point.
Right. You just go to the ones, like, whenever you start drinking, you just go to the ones that you've heard of before.
Yeah, I hear other people order it, and so it's like, okay, I'm gonna get a Jack and Coke. And the guy who was there for my friend was the one who went up and ordered the drinks. The guy who was his friend, who again was not there for me, but I'll get into that, stayed with us. The guy comes back with the drinks. We start drinking them. I don't notice anything weird about this. Maybe I had never had a Jack and Coke at this point either. I know it was strong, and I know I thought like this tastes like absolute dog poop. Yeah. But I didn't think anything. And so these guys are talking, and the original one, the one who was there with my friend, starts getting kind of weird and asks her really like sexual questions, like out of absolutely nowhere, like tells her how nice she looks in that dress. And like, I'm smiling because I'm uncomfortable. Like it got really weird. It was like it went from 0 to 100 really, really, really fast out of nowhere, which is why I think that he must have been the one who drugged us. Because why else would he have like switched his tone so quickly?
It's like red flag.
Yeah. Total red flag. And luckily, he starts asking these really weird questions and stuff, and he directs them to my friend, and she's kind of like laughing it off because, I mean, she invited this guy out and she thinks he's just kind of joking. I mean, I think a lot of us do that, where we just kind of like play situations off or whatever. And he kind of directs them to me, and I say, I have a boyfriend, so I would prefer if you didn't ask me those questions. And then that was when things got really weird, and his friend got like angry, and I don't want to say violent, but just like mad. Like, oh my God, you have a boyfriend? Why didn't we realize, like, why didn't you say anything? And it's like, I mean, I did. Like, I remember bringing it up as a topic of discussion in the very, very beginning, and they either weren't listening or didn't care. I mean, he's the background on my phone. Like, I whipped it out a million times. I just think something was not right, and the guy got mad. Long story short, he was like yelling, his voice was raised. There were like some people looking over from the bar area. And that was kind of when my friend and I decided to dip. And I had anywhere from a fourth to maybe half of this drink. I did not drink the whole thing. These guys were freaking us out. So we get into her car first. And again, don't do as I do as I say. It's not good to drive under the influence of alcohol. Even though it was half a drink, she was still technically sober at this point. We were still underage, and it was a really, really, really bad life decision. We go back to her house, and I remember that, and I told a story kind of similar to this, in which I drove and crashed my best friend's car. That's a totally other story time. Oh, hold on. So we drive back to her house, and I had to go to work the next day. At the time, I worked at a church. Praise Jesus.
Okay.
Living. And so we go back to her house, and I can't stay the night, and I know that I'm sober. I know that it's been maybe a solid 40 or so minutes since I had that drink, which is why I feel, because everyone else is like, it kicked in after 15 minutes. It kicked in after, whatever. So I don't know what was in my drink. I just know that it was about 40 minutes later by the time that we got to her house.
Sorry. Planes.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
It's lit. I just know that it was around 40 minutes later. We were back at her house, and I'm going to drive the, oh my God, it was like another 40 minutes to my house. I get behind the wheel of my car, and I'm not feeling weird at this point. I'm just feeling, I guess I was feeling weird, but it was like anxious butterflies. And I thought it was because that guy started yelling at us in a club. I was scared. I was nervous. I already have a lot of issues with panic attacks and stuff. I get into my car, and I start driving home. And again, I'm feeling a little bit weird, but I would say it took about 20 minutes of me on the road, and it didn't hit me until I saw what was in front of me. Literally, it was like my headlights were on. It was really, really dark out, obviously. And I started to see shapes in the road that were not there. Like, I know, it's like really creepy, but like colorful, distorted, it was so strange. It was like the light was playing tricks on my eyes, and I would see like geometric shapes that would turn into something else. And it wasn't like, it's not what I would imagine like acid would be, where like you see people or like faces melting or something. It was just like eerie, and it got more and more and more so as I kept driving. And I remember I started like talking to myself to be like, okay, Loey, like you're good, you're fine. And I opened my mouth, and it felt like there was cotton in my mouth, and like all of my words were slurred, and I was like literally talking like this. And like when I heard myself and registered that, I freaked out. I called my boyfriend, and I started talking to him, and he's like, from the word go, he was like, are you okay? What's going on? You don't sound all right. Like, where are you? And I told him, I'm like, in my slurred speech, I'm driving home. Something's not right. I literally had half of a drink. I don't know what's wrong. And this is why, again, I don't know what I had, because I remember all of this so vividly. And he talked to me all the way home, which was a bad idea. I shouldn't have kept driving. I did make it home. I had to pull over a couple of times. I kept crying. I kept panicking because I felt so out of my own body. But I made it home. I remember, the last thing I do remember is getting sick on my own bed. And then falling asleep like right next to that. And then my parents, when they saw what happened, just kind of assumed I drank too much. But I remember that night so vividly. And again, I don't know what was in my drink, but I know it wasn't normal because the next day I texted my friend and I was like, something was in that drink. I don't feel okay. And she was like, I got home and she didn't see colors or shapes or anything, but she said she got violently ill, like was sick for the next like 4 days straight. Luckily for me, I was only sick that one night. But yeah, she was sick for days and I didn't feel normal. Until about 2 days later. I still felt like my head was weird, like my mouth felt like there was cotton in it. It was really, really bizarre.
I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, like
it's terrifying.
It's really, really, really scary. And especially like talking to people about this sort of thing. And like, I think that no one's story about getting drugged is similar, and there's no way of knowing what you've had really in this day and age. Because everything is mixed with everything now. And that's another reason, like, never to take pills at parties. Like, I don't know. It's so scary to think about what's floating around out
and
there
if
now.
you know when you feel weird, and if you feel like any type of way, and like, you know, you're going through any kind of similar experience that me and Loey just described, just go to the doctor. Like, just get it checked out, because I wish that I did.
Same.
In the moment, it's just like there's so many things going through your mind, like after you.
Yeah, no, and it's so scary. I mean, literally all I was thinking was, I mean, after the fact, I wish I'd gone to the hospital. I wish I'd gotten tested. I wish I could have like literally testified against these guys and said that I know that they put something in my drink, even if nothing had ever happened, because then at least I know that I did what I could so that they never did this to another girl or another guy. And it's, I mean, for the safety of yourself and for anyone else, like, don't be afraid to speak out. Don't be afraid because your experience isn't similar to anyone else's. That's really what I felt, was like, I didn't relate to my other friends' like roofie stories, so I never came forward with it because I felt like it wasn't normal and people might think like I was exaggerating or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's your safety that really matters, and the safety of everyone around you.
Yeah, and I think like there's a certain sense of like shame. And so that holds you back from telling the stories too. So my advice would be just to obviously be safe from the start. And my advice to people who would do something like that is to stop. Don't ever do that. There's
no situation in the entire world, no matter, like, I've heard before that guys will think that a girl like wants to go home with them or whatever, and then they'll like drug her because. And it's not just guys and girls, like it's everyone doing it to everyone.
If someone wants to go home with you, they will go home with you.
It's I have like chills. It's so gross. It's so gross. Anyone with that mindset, I want to give them something.
Yeah,
like
a knuckle sandwich.
Like a knuckle sandwich. Perhaps a nice strong punch in the face.
Right.
Ow! Ow!
Too rough.
That was hard. That was like, that went
we went.
That got dark.
We went in. Like,
we went in.
We're inside.
Wow. Yeah. No, inside. Edition. SoundlyAwake, Loey Lane.
Right.
Can you not? Okay. We are the emergency. We're too hot. Hot damn. Call the police and the firemen. Do you love me? Are you gonna
oh my gosh.
Are you gonna make collabs with me every day for the rest of our lives?
Literally every day.
Because you love me
there
so
will
much.
Never be a video without you.
There will never be a video without me. And perhaps in the future, we could just have Rachel Whitehurst right here blessing us with her presence.
Please. Oh, God, I love Rachel Whitehurst.
God, I love Rachel Whitehurst.
So I hope that our stories helped some of you. Maybe some of you have gone through similar experiences. Maybe you feel okay to tell people your story now.
I think that that's the biggest thing, is if it's something you've gone through, definitely be vocal about it. Never be afraid, no matter what, no matter what the shame or the insecurity that you might feel, try your hardest to push past it. And also just be very aware of your surroundings. This can literally happen to anybody.
And we got so lucky. Both of us.
I mean, it's honestly, in both of our situations, it's a miracle we didn't wind up in a much worse situation, especially like you were saying, like you were literally out at the club, like all of you guys were drinking. You could have gone home with somebody and it would have been a bad situation. Like I could have crashed my car. I mean, both of us are so lucky.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad you're here because I love you.
I love you too. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please watch the other video that we did on Loey's channel, which is a different kind. Hey, I just turned Irish. It's a different kind of story.
Jacksepticeye, is that you? Top of the morning to you, laddies. fucking love that.
Please watch the other video on Loey's channel because we talk about a different kind of scary
Oh
story.
yeah, and I mean, I think that the one that we're going to talk about is terrifying in its own way.
Subscribe to Loey because she's lit.
I am
AF.
lit. That I actually am. Loey is lit. I
On
don't
Twitter,
know if you guys knew.
you should really be like
Marketed.
just Loey Littybug.
Somebody said that on Twitter the other day.
No!
I'm not even joking you. Somebody was like, name yourself Littybug.
I felt so proud of that.
Littybug.
Littybug.
Oh my god, Littybug. I'm never gonna be okay again.
What would our ship name be?
Oh my god.
Loyola. We'll figure it out. Let us know what you think our ship name would be in the comments
Yeah.
below.
Oh my god, we're gonna pick our favorite one
Yeah.
and probably put it on a t-shirt.
I mean, honestly, at this point.
At this point,
Yeah.
we're inseparable, so we might as well like make it official.
I'm Nicola Foti. This is Loey Lane. You're watching Soundly Awake, and I'll see you in a few days with another video. Pieces.
Bye.
Warden,
Has
giant,
testes.
so
He
shits
everywhere.
out
The.
dick.
That sounds like a very
Shits everywhere
dangerous
out the dick.
medical problem. Warden, I'm concerned for your shitting
It's
out of your
probably
dick.
like a mobile app, like a game.
Shitting out of your dick?
Shit out your dick.
Somebody said we should collab. If only they knew.
Well.